Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am your host, Rico, and this is Relatively Sound, the podcast that you listen to long past dark. Now, today, as you may notice, if you're watching the video version of this podcast episode, I do not have Tony with me. Tony is busy with school, and today's actually his birthday, so he's out celebrating his birthday. But I am joined by friend of the podcast, Chris Antonucci. Chris, how you doing today?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, this has been an episode a little bit long in the making. It was announced earlier this year that Tom Petty and his estate were going to be releasing a deluxe version of the Heartbreakers' fifth studio album, Long After Dark. And they released it, it's been like a week or two now since it's been out. And it includes a couple alternative versions of the songs from Long After Dark, a couple songs that just didn't make it on the album, a couple that have been on other previous compilation releases, and as well as a couple covers. And I loved that it was reissued because, one, I've always thought that it was kind of an underrated album in his discography. Even if I was to do a ranking of his albums, it would probably still rank lower than it should, which just goes to show you that it's underrated.
Nothing wrong with it. It's just
no. I mean, when you have so many great albums and you don't even really have a dud of an album, it's hard to rank them. But it was also good for me too because I never got. I know you did. I don't know if you got both of them. The box sets of the records that they did the reissues of.
No, I haven't gotten it yet.
No. But you got the. Remember when they like split it up into like one part of his career and the second part? You got the one that had Wildflowers in it, didn't you?
Oh, the vinyl.
The vinyl, yeah.
Yeah, I got the
Yours
second
probably didn't include the Long After because that was probably on the first section.
The one I have is the Warner Brothers albums.
Yeah. But I never got any of those. So when they finally released them individually, like Echo and She's the One, of course I picked them up as quick as I could. But I never picked up because I already had a version of Long After Dark, but it was a little scratched up and didn't sound the best. So when they announced this, of course I had to go pick it up.
There you go.
Accidentally bought the non-deluxe version last week. And it arrived, and I opened it, and when I noticed that it was only one record, one LP, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So I just sent it back and got the correct version with the two LPs, with the original track listing and all the bonus goodies.
Love it.
Chris, why don't you talk about what? Because you and I talk about Tom Petty a lot, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Just last week, not even last. Well, a couple weeks ago,
when
Tom Petty's birthday. And then this came out, and then a couple days ago we celebrated 30 years of Wildflowers.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like you and I haven't discussed this album too much. So I'm curious where this. Obviously, you don't have to give me like a ranking, but like, what just the original Long After Dark. What do you think of this album?
I mean, I'd say it kind of like returns to the form that they were on with Damn the Torpedoes, because it was the third album that they did with Jimmy Iovine, and I always felt it was like hit or miss, like some of the stuff for me. I that's based on like stuff that like Tom and other members have said about it and how like they were disappointed in it. But I think it was until I heard playback, or even from watching Running Down a Dream, hearing like Keeping Me Alive, it's like, how did that
Yeah.
be omitted from it? And then when American Treasure came out, Keep a Little Soul, it's like another one that could have made. So then you start realizing what Tom has said, like the album could have been better and he left off better songs. So like, yeah, but I think it would kind of rank middle to the lower part for me.
Yeah,
It isn't bad.
and that's kind of basically where I have it.
Yeah.
Like I think as the album stands right now, if you just listen to the original release version,
Yeah.
I like you said, it's hit or miss. And I think, especially for me, it's like a great first half of an album.
Hmm.
I think it's very front loaded.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the deep cuts near the end are still good,
Hmm.
but it's like the singles are so good.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple non singles that I know you and I both think are also fantastic.
Hmm.
And it just feels like a really strong half of an album.
It does.
Uh, so what we did, because we're absolute nerds, is, we gave the deluxe version a listen over the last couple of weeks. We listened to all the bonus tracks, all, the couple covers, and we decided we are going to do like our own resequencing of the album. We both made our own list of what we think is like the best representation of the album, or I guess just like what we would have done, like what we think are the best songs, and sequence them in a certain order. Um, and yeah, we're gonna go into our list. Um,
We're sorry, Tom. Just in
yeah,
advance
yeah. No, I mean like, yeah, I mean,
because I rank like Tom with Springsteen as like the two best at album sequencing. So
yeah,
they like turned into complete art form themselves. So we apologize in advance, Tom.
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, we're two goofballs just doing this
Yeah.
in our free time, But from what I've seen online too, I think a lot of people also think that this album had more potential
Yeah.
than the outcome. And I think that's partially why his estate, his family was like, yeah, let's release everything. And I do hope, even though I've had issues with some of the way the songs have been released, some of the box sets and that type of stuff, I am
Right.
glad we're getting it, even if it's in chunks.
Yeah. I thought it
Um,
was an interesting choice for this particular album to be like reissued along with the Heartbreakers Beach Party movie.
yeah, which I still have not
Haven't-
yet to see.
Neither have I. Hopefully that like hits a streaming service soon or something.
I think it should. Yeah, I had no theaters near me whatsoever that were going to play it.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it was very interesting the way they released it. I think my most like head scratching moment is like why didn't they include Keep a Little Soul?
Yeah.
Because like you mentioned, it's on an American Treasure, right?
Yeah.
And it's listed, if you go to the liner notes, it says Long After Dark session or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's not on this. And I don't know if it's like, oh, we already included it somewhere else. But I also think Keeping Me Alive, the other version, is on that compilation as well.
It's on Playback and American Treasure.
Yeah, so it's just
They
very
also
weird.
this one on the Long After Dark reissues from that for like French TV, I think.
Yeah. Which,
So
yeah, you
I
get
get it.
versions of other songs on this album in that style. Straight into Darkness and Finding Out.
Yeah. It's like Lonesome Dave from the Wildflower Sessions on
Hmm.
American Treasure, but not included on all the rest. But that's for another time.
Yeah. We'll have a specific video
Yeah.
coming out for that. Um, yeah. So I don't know how you want to do this. I don't know if we want to do each list at a time, or if you want to alternate, go back and forth.
We could um just reveal each other's lists and then try to quickly collaborate on
Okay.
different.
Okay.
So for mine, I up the song total to 12 songs.
Okay. Interesting.
6 songs on each side, and luckily on iTunes or Apple Music, whatever, it did amount to 43 minutes, so does fit into the window of vinyl.
Okay. Perfect.
So the first side, I mostly or basically kept it intact. I have One Story Town starting it off.
Okay.
You Got Lucky, but then I went Never Be You, third song.
All right. I had a feeling you were going to put that on your list.
Hey, there you go. It's one of the new ones. new, I should say.
Yeah.
Uh, Followed by Change of Heart, Finding Out, which actually grew on me these last few weeks.
Which makes me happy because that was always one of my favorites from the album.
Okay, I think it was just hearing that, and then especially that
The
that French
French,
TV version that's included. I
yeah.
was like, oh god, this song really rocks.
Yeah, it's a
So
little heavier. Definitely the mixing is different too. Like you can hear Benmont's like organ keyboard way louder in that mix.
right, and then I end the side one with Keeping Me Alive.
Okay, okay. So another inclusion of a new song,
Yep,
new old
it's getting
song.
its due, and it's Justice. Side two begins with Straight into Darkness. I just
Okay.
always thought that was like a good like side opener.
Yeah.
And then I go with Don't Make Me Walk the Line,
Oh, interesting.
new
Interesting.
ones. Uh Third one's Deliver Me.
Okay. One of my favorites.
Uh, After that, Between Two Worlds, which I know that one of the clips that they were releasing before the movie came out, that it was originally the album was originally going to be called Between Two Worlds, and even had like artwork made up for with that as the album title. So I figured I would keep that as part of the like how Tom saw it, maybe.
Yeah, stay true to
Yeah,
his original vision.
right. Then I go Turning Point, this
Okay.
new reissue version, not the one that was on playback.
Yeah, it's like the drums are different, I think.
I I was trying to listen to it, and for some reason I can't find playback on my external hard drive.
Yeah, it's on my little computer too somewhere because
I'm like, I could have sworn I backed it up, but for some reason I can't find it, and it's making me mad. And then I end the album with Keep a Little Soul.
oh, very nice. Okay, okay. I like that. I think the hardest part for this challenge for me was how to close the album.
I was like, A Wasted Life is just dull to me. I'm like, that's like the first one gone.
Yeah. I wanted to keep a wasted life on the album because
Yep,
I do think it's I feel like the only place you can put it on an album is the closer. But
right.
I agree if you rank it amongst his other closers, it's definitely near the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Um, I know I would take like you can still change your mind over it. I know that
Mm,
one also is not one of your favorite closers, but
right.
that one to me just has a little bit more emotion where a wasted life is just kind of yeah, it's a little bit more on
Very
the bland side.
stagnant.
Yeah. But I really like keeping or I really like putting Keep a Little Soul as the closing track. Now that I'm looking at my list, I'm like, ooh, okay, I maybe could have done that too. Um, I knew you were gonna put on Never Be You.
Yep.
Um, I am surprised you put Don't Make Me Walk the Line on there. I like it. It's not one of my favorites out of like the new songs.
Hmm.
But I like it. And then I'm a little surprised you moved Deliver Me lower on the track list. Maybe to balance it a
Yeah,
little bit more.
I guess so, but it's like at the same time, I'm like, when I think back, it's like it also fits where it originally is as well. So it's like
Yeah.
as the third song on the album, but I guess you had to balance it between because you have like Straight into Darkness, which is kind of mid. Um, Turning Point, the same thing, a little quieter, mid. Keep a Little Soul is also like in that mid. So I figured it was like let me balance it out. I didn't know if I wanted like Keeping Me Alive to start the second side or Straight into Darkness.
So you cut We Stand a Chance, right?
Yep.
And the same old you.
Yeah,
And
even though I do like that opening Bowie line.
yeah, yeah. I kind of didn't I think you and I were texting about like not really noticing that line before.
Yeah, I'm like, holy shit, how did I miss that?
Yeah. And then you also cut A Wasted Life. So those
Yeah,
are the only three, right, that you cut?
yeah.
All right. So I will say my list is a little bit more unhinged than yours. Um, You are gonna have some issue with my list. I'm letting you know right off the bat.
Well, let's see. Go ahead.
So I will say this. I did call my I had a little fun with it. I called my album Longer Past Dark.
I like that.
Um and I actually so I have the normal like I have a version of the album where it's 11 tracks.
All right.
But what I did is I basically any track that I didn't include on my version, I sequenced for like a disc 2,
Oh,
which
you
is
did like
like
the whole thing.
yeah, so I mean, I my disc 1 is how I wish the album would have been.
Okay.
But I still think all the other songs I didn't include are really. I mean, I don't really think there's like a bad song in this list of songs, but
Mhm.
that was just like me having extra fun
Yeah.
because there were so many times where I was like, I really want this song to be on mine, but I have too many songs, or it's just like it doesn't fit in the sequence of the song. So
Right.
I'm already shaking things up because I do not keep the opening song the same.
Ooh.
I love One Story Town, and I think
Yep.
it's an underrated Tom Petty song in general, but I also think
Yep.
it's an underrated opener. That said, I still think you could open the album up with a little bit more force. So I made Finding Out the opening track.
Ooh. For some reason, mine right now, I was thinking to myself like finding out like would be pretty cool. So wow.
Yeah, I mean it's
On that.
I like I like the energy of it.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
Um it's it's kind of like One Story Town where like is it going to be the like a hit single from the album? No.
No.
But I still think it's a really strong track. And I just like the energy. My number 2 on mine, Deliver Me.
Okay.
I like it being more upfront on the album because I just think it has a I don't know, I think it's a good second song. Like it's still kind of upbeat, but I kind
Hmm.
of consider it one of the more emotional tracks on the album.
Yeah.
Um kind of like a Never Be You, but
Yeah.
this one's just a little bit more rock, you know?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's more a little more guitar heavy. It's not as much. It's a ballad, but not so ballady, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Then I go to Change of Heart.
Nice.
Then I go Keeping Me Alive
Ooh.
because I mean you and I both agree that like how did he not include the song on the album?
Could blame Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah. And then
Hi, Jimmy.
if you're listening now. Um then I will say that my track 5 is the one I was most iffy with. I included Ways to Be Wicked.
Ooh.
That one really has grown on me because I believe that one was also on playback or
Yeah, it was like a different time period, if I remember. I
yeah,
forget.
but I like it. It's kind of upbeat. It's despite the title, I every time I read the title, I'm expecting like a what's that one like come up to my house like where it's really fast and
Oh yeah, come on up to my house. I love that one.
yeah, but no, this one's just like kind of an upbeat feel good track. And then I guess I didn't. The only thing I didn't really do on mine was I didn't really put mine on sides, but my side one it's going to be uneven because I made it 11 tracks, but
All right, depends on time too.
I probably would close side one with Straight into Darkness.
Ooh.
I like it as a opening for side 2.
Yeah.
I just think with time I would with my version I'd have to end side 1. But
Mhm.
Straight into Darkness, I think, is the best song on the album.
Yeah, between that and Change of Heart for me.
I'm exactly the same. My only thing is like Change of Heart is so fun.
Oh, it's so good though.
It's so good. But I'm like, some of the lyrics in Straight into Darkness are just like some of his best, like that bridge.
Yeah, it's
It's
a song
just
too that like gives me like a Springsteen feel as well.
yes.
Along with
Oh,
Never Be You.
yeah. Yeah, I also got very Springsteen vibes from Never Be You.
Oh, like
Uh,
a quick side note.
yeah.
Ways to Be Wicked that I was thinking of was from the Let Me Up sessions.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the one that's on playback.
Oh, okay. So I'm very curious now to hear that version again.
I thought that was like later on, like in the 90s, but I was wrong.
Yeah, that playback era where they're taking songs from those kind of mid later albums gets very confusing for me.
Right.
It also does not help that some of the discs are not on streaming right now.
Very
Um,
frustrating.
very frustrating. So I open up my side two with
Hmm.
"Keep a Little Soul,"
Oh, nice.
which I kind of wish now was my closer because I very much like where you put it on your version.
Yeah.
But I thought it's a good kind of pick me up, good way to
Hmm.
start, Um, then I go to Turning Point, track
Okay.
number 8.
This
Um, hmm?
this version from the new.
yeah, just because like you, I could not find the other version. Um,
And I was gonna ask you, like, can you send me the playback discs?
I I have on my old computer.
Yeah.
If I can boot it up one of these days, I will because I know like all of when I was still using iTunes, it's all
Yeah.
there. All the music that you and I have shared each other over the years, it's all there. But um, I know I have it somewhere. But I'll go with this version of Turning Point. I really
Yeah.
like, um, and I really like the Turning Point. He says Turning Point in the bridge of Change of Heart. We
Mm,
finally reached a turning point. So I kind of
yeah.
feel like
There
it feels
probably is.
important to have that song on this album if you're having Change of Heart on the album, and you have to because Change of Heart is one of the best.
Yeah.
Track number 9, One on One. I,
Oh,
I
okay.
I think it's kind of a better version of some of the other songs on the second side of the original album. Because for
Hmm.
some reason to me, We Stand a Chance, Same Old June, Between Two Worlds, I always kind of get them confused. When they start playing, I'm like, yeah, this is a decent song. But when
Yeah.
I'm right now looking at them, for some reason, a lot of those 3 songs, I can only hear like the chorus in my head.
Hmm.
So I kind of think One on One is kind of like those songs. And spoiler alert, I took off all 3 of those songs I just mentioned.
Okay.
To me, this was like kind of keeping that same kind of vibe, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So then track 10, I included Stories We Could Tell,
Oh,
which is a
that's nice.
cover, I'm always iffy about bands including or artists including covers on their albums.
Hmm.
But I've listened to so many albums now where that's been done that I don't consider it as weird as I did like 10 years ago. And I just really like the harmonies on that song. I like that it's kind of more acoustic based because I do think Keeping Me Alive, you kind of need another acoustic song for it to kind of fit the vibe of this album because this album's really kind of guitar heavy, electric guitar heavy, right? Upbeat.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he didn't include Keeping Me Alive because it just felt like, I mean, I don't know what other album it would fit on, but
Right.
I
That's
just feel
probably
like
why
it,
I also put Turning Point as
yeah,
well.
yeah. So I feel like with those 3 songs with the acoustic guitar, they pair nicely.
Yep.
So that would be my closing song, but then hidden track, Heartbreakers Beach Party, as a hidden track after Stories We Could Tell. Now,
Wow.
I did not think I was going to include Heartbreakers Beach Party on my album because it's a fun little song,
Right.
and I think I maybe prefer the Fillmore live version a little bit more because that one is
Hmm.
even more spontaneous. Like someone just yelled it out and they just started playing it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was just like, this album does have a couple fun songs. Like I think Change of Heart's a very fun song. I think Keep a Little Soul's really upbeat, and I just feel like, I don't know, it would just be kind of a nice. I can't really think of a Tom Petty album where there's like a hidden track. So
Yeah. I
unless you want to include like
don't think he ever did.
the side at the end of Running Down a Dream on the CD version
Hmm.
with the
Like, hello, CD listeners.
yeah. But other than that, they've never really done one. So yeah, I would end it as a hidden track. So I guess it'd be 10 songs on my version, but really 11.
Wow. You only kept 4 songs.
So I will say this. I really wanted to include One Story Town, and I really wanted to include Never Be You.
Hmm.
And I actually did really want to include A Wasted Life because I do like it. It's never a go-to, but every time I hear it, I'm like, this is a sweet little song. I think maybe the one thing that people are going to rag on me about is I did not include You Get Lucky. You Got Lucky.
I thought that was going to be the hidden track.
No, I like You Got Lucky, but it's never that song and um the main hit on Southern Accents that's escaping my name for some reason.
Oh, don't come around here no
Don't
more.
Come Around Here No More. Those two have never been my favorite. And it's because to me it has the most that 80s sound. That
It was
80s
the
production.
times, man.
I it's my least favorite like decade of music. For the now there's love me some U2, love me some early REM. But again, even when we're talking about those bands, my favorite era of REM and U2 are 90s, not 80s. So yeah, you got lucky. And I know you were mentioning it in our text the other day. You're like, well, if he didn't include You Got Lucky, we wouldn't have gotten the iconic music video. But I don't
So,
know. So I basically
all personal choice.
all my leftover tracks, I ended up making a disc two, and it goes One Story Town, Never Be You, You Got Lucky, Don't Make Me Walk the Line, We Stand a Chance, Wild Thing, Same Old You, Between Two Worlds, and then A Wasted Life. Now, I will say, I really want to include Never Be You.
Hmm.
Never Be You is an interesting song because when the album was announced, the deluxe version, a month or so ago, they did mention that like Never Be You was a hit for a couple other artists.
Mm.
And doing some research, the song was written by Tom and I guess Benmont, and it was actually first released in 1983 by an artist named Maria McGee,
Never heard of
and
her.
she was an American singer songwriter. She I guess is most known for having a song in Pulp Fiction, but it doesn't seem like she had a
Mm.
ton of big hits. But this, I guess, Never Be You was a minor hit for her because it was included in the movie Streets of Fire,
Oh, I like the
which
name.
I've never seen. Um, and then it was also recorded by Roseanne Cash.
Oh, interesting.
But it wasn't. She recorded a version also for like I think also for the movie Streets of Fire, but they chose Maria McGee's version instead. And
Hmm.
then her version wasn't released until 1985 with her album Rhythm and Romance.
Okay.
Um,
I'd have to look up her song from Pulp Fiction to remember it because I looked it up quick. I was like, I have no recollection of that title.
yeah, just by the name of it.
Yeah.
Um, but so I really wanted to include Never Be You because I think out of all the songs from the session, especially the ones that we had never heard before,
Yeah.
that's the most interesting one. Like you said, it has a very Bruce vibe.
Yep.
I got like the River era of Bruce vibes from it.
Oh, totally. Like that whole piano line.
Yeah. And I think it's one of his most interesting songs for his vocal performance. That
Right.
falsetto, we don't get that
Hmm.
in a lot of Tom songs.
I don't recall any.
Exactly. So I really enjoy the vocals on Never Be You.
Hmm.
I just don't love the lyrics. It to me the lyrics are just they're a little corny and it's just one of those songs it's a ballad, right?
Hmm.
It's from the heart, but I've never been a big fan of songs where it's like comparing someone else to someone else, like an ex-partner to your, current partner.
Right.
So it was enough for me not to include it on my version. But I will say over the last couple of weeks, I that has been like a repeat of mine because I love the chorus and I love the way he sings it. Um, and then also just for fun, I was kind of like considering taking my version of the album. I'm like, what would I include as the lead single? I think for me, I would include Change of Heart as the lead single
Oh, absolutely.
because, well, first of all, I don't have You Got Lucky in my version,
Hmm.
but I just think Change of Heart is kind of even though I think Straight Into Darkness is the slightly better song,
Hmm.
I think Change of Heart is like my favorite because it just was like an instant favorite the first time I heard the song.
Hmm.
And I also think like Change of Heart, and then if you had something like, see, I think if Change of Heart B side you had Never Be You, I think that'd be cool to include
Definitely.
one of the songs that didn't make it on my version of the album.
And it should have been a
Um,
bigger hit.
yeah, it should have been. I don't know why You Got Lucky was. Because I also, because then I would probably follow it up with like Straight Into Darkness as a second single. Because that should
Definitely.
have been a hit. And I also think Deliver Me should have been a hit too.
Well, I know Change of Heart and Straight Into Darkness were singles. They just
Singles, but
weren't
they just weren't.
as successful as You Got Lucky.
Yeah. But, it was fun to definitely listen to the different versions of the two different versions of Finding Out. And what was the other one? It was,
I think
uh,
Between Two Worlds was on there.
yeah, Between Two
Straight Into
Worlds.
Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say the Straight Into Darkness, I didn't find like it to be super different.
No, I think it's just a little slower.
Yeah. Definitely for sure Finding Out of the three was the
Oh yeah,
most like, oh
that
yeah,
was awesome.
this is because it sounded more like a live cut, you know.
I think it was.
It is, I think, technically, but yeah,
Yeah.
it just, you
Oh
know,
yeah, you're just tearing through it. So good.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, I really like this release overall. Like you said, it's a little weird that they paired it with the movie.
Oh, the movie I
Uh,
can understand because they were. It was like that time period.
yeah.
I think. I think I'm surprised they didn't do something like Full Moon Fever
Well,
or.
yeah, it does make me wonder because I want to say too, like, there's a lot of B sides for Southern accents
Oh yeah, or that too.
because I have a couple of the singles. Like, I think I have. Well, what were the singles from that album besides "Don't Come Around Here No More"? I have one that has a B side to it that I've only ever heard a couple times, and I know they're on YouTube too. Um, oh,
Or
it's like
try to
a
like.
like there's one on like Gators on the Lawn or something.
Oh yeah, or try to resurrect like his the Southern concept album that he originally made it as.
That I mean that has to be done at some point. I feel like if they have enough in the vault, like enough
And released,
notes, like because
yeah, between what was released on American Treasure and I think the album itself and maybe
yeah,
playback.
yeah. I mean that I feel like that has to be done at some point. You and I in a separate video, just for the sake of the listeners, they don't have to watch like 3 hours worth of Tom Petty in a row. You and I are going to go over the Wildflowers box set, all
Hmm.
the rest, and all the other discs. But yeah, I mean, out of like his recent re-releases, I do think this is an interesting one. I definitely will be returning to some of the songs, "Never Be You," that version of "Finding Out," "Turning Point." Um, I am excited to see the movie.
Yes, me too.
It was directed by Cameron Crowe.
Cameron Crowe, yeah,
Yeah,
his first directorial job, so he credits Tom for that.
which is cool.
Yeah,
I'm hoping I will say kind of unrelated, but because he did the Pearl Jam one, right?
yeah.
I was a little let down by that one, but that the different. I mean, that's like going over the whole band's career, you know. I will say the best thing to come out of Pearl Jam 20 for me was the book. The book was absolutely fantastic. It was just so
Mhm.
detailed.
And I still got
Um,
it.
it's it's not like a book where it's like because right now you're reading a Tom Petty biography, right?
I'm gonna save that one for home, just so no one
Oh,
at work sees me cry.
okay.
I'm
But
reading Zeppelin one, but yeah.
yeah, it's not like a biography in that sense. It's literally like a timeline
Hmm.
where like it'll have the year, and then it'll point out like specific concerts that were important to the band, when they were recording certain albums, releases of certain shows or singles. It's really cool.
Yep.
It's really in depth. Um, I mean, so far out of all the documentaries I've seen, nothing will top Running Down a Dream.
No, not at all.
I mean, that one really. I mean, I was already getting into Tom Petty just from the Greatest Hits
Yep.
CD, but that documentary was fantastic.
Absolutely.
And
Eagles great too.
it was the first time I heard "Keeping Me Alive," like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, a lot of us.
Yeah, because I don't think it was, released before then, and then any other. Oh well, maybe like you said,
It was on playback.
but
We hadn't heard it
yeah,
until we watched the movie.
yeah. So the only thing I'll say is I wish they had included "Keep a Little Soul" in this, because I love that song, and it seems like kind of the only little missing link. I mean, unless they're holding it out more, I mean, we won't know. Well, I guess we'll never know.
We'll see.
But no, that was fun.
It was.
I am going to hopefully. You already made yours into a playlist.
Yeah.
I think I need to make mine into a playlist still. I will include links in the description of this video where you can listen to both versions of the album, mine and Chris's. And drop us a comment. Let us know. It's not a competition, but let us know.
No.
If there's one you enjoyed more, or if you think we're both crazy and the original album was the best version.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, a lot of fans I think that they held back on this album a little bit. So I'll be shocked if there's some people if there's many fans who are going to be like, no, this album should not be changed. I mean, we're not crazy. Chris and I are going to change like Wildflowers or anything like that, or Full Moon Fever.
Tom did that already.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's untouchable.
Untouchable, yeah. That's one of the greats. But yeah, drop us a comments. Let us know what you think of our alternative track listings. And yeah, until next time, we hope you take care, and you'll be hearing from us soon. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you, and happy birthday, Tony.
Late shout out to Tony.